Hey there, welcome back. It's Jackie from Rekindle You, and today we've got, surprise, another great workout. So today we're doing some squat knee up, some single leg deadlifts. We did deadlifts just the other day, so we're changing it up a bit, just tweaking it a bit. After that, we'll do thrusters and triceps press, and then some T push-ups and Russian twist. If you're using weights, say your dumbbells, you'll probably want a heavier set because you'll want to go a bit heavier for the thrusters potentially, and you can share a dumbbell between two hands for triceps press. That means that if you're using alternatives to dumbbells like water bottles or cans or that sort of thing, you can go a little bit heavier if it's available to you, but just know that these movements are valuable whether you use weight or not. And if your weight maybe isn't the heaviest you can handle, it'll still be beneficial for you. So don't stress over that. Work with what you have, and we'll just enjoy our time together. As usual, we'll do 45 seconds of work, 15 seconds rest at minimum. It's a little bit longer when we're switching between the types of exercises, and each one of these will be done 4 times. So we'll do squat knee up, single leg deadlift, and then repeat that pairing. We'll go through the whole list, and we'll go through the whole list twice. Okay, we'll start with a full warm up, and we'll end with an excellent cool down too. All you need to do is make sure you have a mat or something to keep it comfortable under your knees, maybe some water, and those are the bare bones things you require. Anything else is just extra and bonus. I'll try to show some different options for different exercises. As always, if I don't present options that work for you and your body, then let me know and I can give you some more options. Sometimes I just don't think of all the things on the spot. That's all. I'm warming up my wrists. As you can see, we're getting ready to get started here. So come on back to your mat. Find yourself in tabletop position, hands beneath shoulders, knees beneath hips. I like to tuck my toes often. I'm doing it today. And pull the tailbone up towards the ceiling. Let the belly sink. Lift the heart a little. Press the floor away. And then curve the tailbone up and under. Round the spine, vertebra by vertebra. Chin tucks into chest. Rounding spine into your cat. Flipping the tailbone back up. Riding the weight into your cow. And then reversing the movement back into cat. Follow your own breath, taking an inhale as you sink into cow. And then exhaling as you move into cat. Moving with the timing of your breath, so maybe a little slower than me, maybe a little quicker. More important that it goes with your breath than the speed. The next time you come out of your cat, find a neutral spine, a nice flat back position, root down through your left knee and foot, and reach your right leg long behind you. Make sure the hips are facing down towards the mat, they haven't popped open, and then begin to rotate your ankle. This way and that, around in circles, point and flex. And then hold the flex, press it through your heel, and float the right leg behind you over to the left, crossing your left leg. Land the toes down off the mat, breathe in for length. Exhale as you turn around your left shoulder, checking in towards your right toes. Exhale, unwind. Maybe wag your tail, come up on fists. Maybe sit all the way up on your knees for a minute. And then land yourself down, getting yourself set up with your flat back. Root down through right knee and foot and arms. Stretch your left leg out long behind you at hip height. Adjust the hips so they're not popping up, and rotate the ankle. Point and flex. And then hold the flex. Drift the leg across behind. Land it down. Find some length growing long across your spine all the way down. And exhale as you turn around your right shoulder, checking with that left foot. Unwind. Counter move here. And then if you join me with this, walk your hands out a little further out. Tuck the toes, press the hips up and back. Find your downward dog. Pedal it out. Got an itchy nose today. All right. right. Nodding the head yes. Shaking it no. Maybe choosing to sneak a little calf stretch in. That's what I've done. I'm trying to press my heels towards the floor. But maybe you really want to focus on lengthening your spine today, so bending the knees generously. Stretching the spine from pelvis all the way up to crown of head. And then option to walk your hands towards your feet, or opposite, I'm going to walk hands towards feet today. Finding a forward fold. You can always widen your stance to make more room for your belly. Bend the knees as much as needed. Root in through the feet, and you can either roll up vertebra by vertebra or kind of sweep up, standing up all the way. Your call. I'm rolling up today, just for fun. And then start rocking up on your toes as I continue to itch my nose. Rhyming now. Back onto your heels. If you're really waking up the feet, making sure the knees have a nice bend in them. Awesome. Start to draw your knees all the way up towards your chest. Nice high knee march. All the way. Moving into cross body march, knee to opposite elbow. And then a wide-legged march, opening the hip. Knee coming out to the elbow, off to the side of the body. Next, we're going to find our way into some squats. So widening your stance perhaps. Remembering we're going to press the knees outward. We're not going to let them collapse inward. We're going to press them out, really feel into the footprint, maybe tap your big toes. And then begin to lower and lift. If you want, you can always use a chair to assist your squats. So you have some, or a bench, so that way you're sitting down and then up. It can be helpful if you're worried about knee stability at all. It can also keep you from being overly ambitious and trying to get too low when you're really working on the framework of your squat. And then move it out of the way now. Okay. All right, relax out of your squat. Maybe give your legs a shake. Let's move into the neck, working up and down, up and down, up and down. Return head to center, look left and right, left and right. One more time, left and right. Return to center. Actually, you know what? Keep it to the right. I'm forgetting. Let's roll up, over to the left. So trace the semicircle along your chest with your chin, and up to the other side. Nice and slow. Return your head to center. I'll give my little shoulders a massage, holding some tension there. Start to roll your shoulders up and around in a backwards motion. And pause and reverse the direction, moving forwards now. Root down through the feet, soften the knees, hold the legs steady, and begin to shift side to side. Just upper body moves. Speed it up if you can. Awesome. Getting ready to tilt up and over to the side and hold for 4, 3, 2, 1. Turn the toe out. Press out over top with opposite hand. Find a flat back for 3, 2, 1. Drop the head and hands down to the foot for 4, 3, 2, 1. Toes face center, forward fold in the middle. Release your head and neck for 4, 3, 2, 1. Press into the feet, rise all the way up. Open the arms and get ready to tilt to the other side for 4, 3, 2, 1. Toe turns out, opposite hand, flat back for 4, 3, 2, 1. Down to the toe with the top of the head for 4, 3, 2, 1. Toes back to center, forward fold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Press into the feet, soften knees, rise up. Open up a little quicker this time, up and over for 3, 2, 1. Flat back. 3, 2, 1. Toe. 3, 2, 1. Middle. 3, 2, 1. Press up. Open. Other side. 3, 2, 1. Flat back. 3, 2, 1. Toe. 3, 2, 1. Middle. 3, 2, 1. All the way up. Open the arms and cartwheel all the way around. Retrace your steps. Nice fluid circle. Taking your time. There we go. Arms draw out in front, around the shoulders slightly. Open the chest. Taking your breath along with your movement. Looking for mobility here, not big stretches, so not over-exaggerating the movement. Just feeling the body move. Release the arms, start to kick the toes up towards your face. Into your zombie kicks, your tin soldiers, your hamstring awakeners. All right, let's find our way into some lunges, waking up the hip flexors. Hip flexes? Hip flexors, okay. So top of your mat, reaching down to the left, but step back with the right leg. Bending into the left knee, so poking it out forwards, making sure it tracks slightly towards the baby toe. Bend a little deeper into the right knee too, and tipping the pelvis a bit. So if you're kind of like leaning a little bit back, like you're reclining a bit in a chair, you'll feel a gentle stretch perhaps in the inner hip crease there, the front of the hip. That's what we're shooting for. A little rock, forward and back, a little jig and jag, side to side. Maybe drawing circles, just looking for that little bit of movement in those hip flexors, getting them fired up so they'll help us out during the workout. Step forward to match your feet, root down through the right foot, step back with the left. You can adjust your hips, draw right hip back, left hip forward, check in with the right knee, make sure it's not covering up your big toe. Tip the pelvis back, recline your chair, there you go. And rocking slightly into the hip flexor, forward and back, side to side, all around. Losing my balance here. If you need to widen your stance, feel free. So you can have your right leg closer to the right edge of your mat and left leg closer to the left. That'll give you a little more stability. Step forward out of it and into the hip rotation. So 3 per side in the forward direction, drawing the hip up and over, getting on the horse if you like to think of it that way. And then reversing it, going backwards now, lifting up and then reversing back and over, getting off the horse. Okay, there we go, warm up complete, unless you need to do anything else, get set up. So our first one today is a squat knee up. This one is taken from a movement that we used to do during outdoor workouts where we would do a tuck jump. So that's where you jump up in your knees, come up to the outside, right? So the motion there is there's a bit of a squat as you jump, and then we're drawing the knees up. Now, that's a lot of impact. And it's a little hard to do inside sometimes. I actually that felt awkward doing that right there for me right now, just because the way things are with my hips these days. So for squat knee up, instead what we'll do is we'll find a squat, and then come up, find your balance, draw the knee up. But we're doing it as if we're doing that wide-legged march that we did at the beginning, remember? So you want to come more up rather than front, if you can manage it. If in front is what feels best for you today, then that's still excellent effort. You can also do this movement using a stool, right? So we demoed this earlier. So a squat, and then the knee comes up. Squat, opposite knee. Okay. After that, we're on to single leg deadlift. So Options for this one, there's a whole bunch of them. So one of them is if you're really just working on your balance right now, single leg deadlift implies it's on one foot, and that's true. So if you're really working on your balance, then you're going to work on the balance part of it. Okay, so I like to put my hands on my hips for this, root down through the left foot, keeping the hips nice and even, so hands are on the hips. Keep a softness in the standing leg, and you're going to be finding your way into like a warrior 3, holding there steady, or option to do basically good morning on one foot, where you return the foot and then you go back down, pressing the heel out, trying to keep the hips even, okay? Another option is if you're adding weights to it, you can add 1 or 2 weights, your choice, holding them as appropriately. If you're holding 1 end to end, if you're using 2, you can hold them side by side. But remember that with the deadlifts or a single leg deadlift, keep the weight really close to the body. So same thing I just did, except for this time, we've got a weight that's sliding down the leg until we find sort of that flat back, and then drawing up with the strength of the standing leg. If you're really set on doing deadlifts with weights, but one leg isn't working for you, then you do the double leg like we did the other day, where you have maybe 2 weights in your hand with a 1, you're standing in your strong stance, you're hinging at the waist, keeping the weight really close to the body until you find your flat back, and then you're pressing into the feet, rising up for your deadlift. Okay, so we're gonna get started there. I can demo the rest as we go. There'll be a 10-second countdown, and then we'll get ready for action. But while you wait for me, get prepared to do your squat knee up. We will get started. Here we go. In 10 seconds, we'll be doing squat knee up. And whatever variation or option feels the best for you, and you can experiment and switch between. All right, so squatting down, making sure knees are pressing out as you rise up, drawing the knee up. Squatting again, this time knee of the opposite leg comes up. Notice how it feels. Experiment with where it comes. Maybe it needs to come up in front of you. Maybe out wide is okay. Maybe you want to mix it up and do a crossbody. So many choices. Really nice work. Taking it nice and slow. Only 10 seconds left. So this one burns the clock a lot because it's a compound movement. We've got a couple things going on. Next up is your single leg deadlift. So option to go work on balance without a weight, to use the weight, or to work on your deadlift with 2 feet underneath you. I'm gonna start on my left leg. So if you're doing 1 foot stuff, let's stand on our left leg to start, whether you're using a weight or not. We're gonna remember to press out through the heel of the floating leg, attempting to keep the hips as even as you can, and keeping your back nice and flat too. I like to inhale as I lower the body into position, and exhale as I drive up using that strong hamstring to return me upright. Okay, back to our squat knee up, or our option that we've chosen to match that movement. Starting in about 5 seconds or so, so get yourself set up. Remember to press the knees out of your squat so they don't collapse. Choosing how low you go. You may not have a low squat. You might be really just focusing on your form, or maybe your form has gotten really good lately and you want to try to go lower. That's fine too. Just listen to your body. Notice how your knees feel, your hips, your low back. Make sure that we're not pushing through for our ego, but it's in fact what our body wants and needs. Okay, back to the single leg deadlift, or our option to match that. If you are on one leg, if you're matching me, you'll stand on your right leg this time around. Prepare for it to feel a little different. Make sure your knee is nice and soft. If you're using weights for single leg or double leg deadlift, make sure they stay really close to the body. You're gonna feel like you're gonna scrape your legs on them. Really strong through the standing foot or feet. Letting this movement be all about the hamstrings and the glutes rather than the low back or the arms. So that means the arms keep the same position throughout. So we're not adding extra bend to the elbows or anything. Okay. We have a 30-second break because we're switching into our next grouping. So our next pairing is thrusters and triceps press. For thrusters, we're carrying on that squat sort of movement with or without the stool. Hands up on the shoulders, or if we have weights, they're gonna be racked. Squat down, and as you come up, press the hands up. So I would use open hands. It's hard to see because I'm so close to the camera. Open hands if there's no weight. If you're using weights, you'll press the weights up. Get started. I'm gonna join you. I'm gonna use weights for this round. So doing your squat, and then pressing up. Making it explosive so that as you rise up, it pops the weights up. My partner, when he does this movement during the workouts, he always says he feels like he's gonna throw the weights to the ceiling. So that's his sign that he has got a lot of power in his legs. Maybe he could use heavier weights, but the movement's still really useful. And if you're having any shoulder discomfort, then this is a good movement to do without weights. And if you're tired of doing squats, then you could absolutely do a shoulder press instead with or without weights. Just skipping the squat. For triceps press, you can choose a different triceps exercise if you don't want to do this one. Otherwise, share a weight between two arms. Find a nice balanced stacked posture. Weight overhead, bending to 90, and then pressing up. Inhaling as you lower. Exhaling as you press back up. Check in with your low back. Are you engaging your core? Are you drawing your belly button up and into your spine to support your low back so you don't get extra arches? Notice how your tailbone feels. If it feels like it's popping out, see if you can tuck your tail between your legs a little bit. Doesn't have to be extreme, but again, just protect the low back so that this is a triceps exercise, squeezing the backs of the upper arm rather than a back exercise. Okay, lower down safely. Back to your thrusters. So whatever you've chosen to do, with or without weights, with or without the squat. If it's without the squat, I call them overhead press, or you can call them shoulder press. And know that you don't have to make it a really deep squat, so you can go really, really deep and then power up, or you can make it less deep and power up even still. Okay, so you get to choose based on how your body feels. Maybe you play around, do some differently, and notice what feels right. There's lots of time to work it out. That's the beauty of these 45-second work periods. So you have time to experiment, you've got time to take a breather if needed, to readjust instead of rushing around. And always rather fewer reps, better form. All right, back to your triceps press now. Sharing a weight between, I've already done this. I'm going to show you an alternative without weights. It's quite a bit different. I'm going to show you prone shoulder extension. You lie on your belly with your pinkies facing up towards the sky, and you lift your pinkies up towards the ceiling, squeezing your triceps. So if you want to work on your tricep strength, but you don't have weights available, or that triceps press is uncomfortable for you, then you could try this one. It's a nice variation, a little bit different. Just make sure your neck stays long as you do it. You're not tilting your head up. Okay, 30-second break here because we're switching it up again. So next we're doing T push-ups. So push-ups I know can be problematic for people. Some people really love them, some people hate them. So for push-ups, you always have that option of going from your knees to your toes. You could always do a reset push-up, which is where, whether you're going from knees or toes, you kind of bring yourself down and then you just get up however you get up. You don't worry about pressing yourself up. Another option is to do push-ups against a wall. I don't have a wall to demo, but you're going against a wall. For T push-ups though, you do a push-up from knees or toes, and then you rotate into a side plank. Pressing the hips up towards the ceiling. From knees, it looks a little different. You end up kickstanding the bottom knee back behind you. So as you work through this exercise, you're going to make the choice of whether you do T push-ups or regular push-ups, and then whichever option of push-ups you like. Or maybe you're opting just to do a side plank the whole time, that's fine too. On the Russian twist, for this one, you're going to sit on your bum, feet in front, root your heels down, sit up nice and tall, and then begin to hinge, reclining, until you feel your core engage. Draw your core in rather than letting it press out. So really feel yourself draw in. And then with your hands, cross them across your chest and begin to rotate side to side. And no need to float the knees here. Most people can find enough engagement from reclining. If you've reclined too much, come up a little further. And still twisting side to side, you'll still feel that movement, that work in your oblique abdominals. Okay, back to your T push-ups or your push-ups or side plank. I know there's so many options, but it's really important to me that you choose something that works for you today. Getting started in about 2 seconds. Here we go. As you do your push-ups, see if you can keep your neck long so you don't dip your head. Breathing it out, taking breaks whenever you like. If you need to stretch it out somewhere, feel free. And then just work your way back in. Energy levels fluctuate from day to day, so just expect it and roll with it. Back to Russian twist, so sitting up nice and tall, and then reclining. Hands cross the chest, and then turning from side to side, twisting, keeping your legs glued together. Toes are flexed, drawing back up towards your nose. Awesome, keep it up. Really drawing the belly in, containing. I know that your belly's gonna push out, but we want that movement, that motion to feel like it's hugging in through the core rather than pushing it out. Lovely. 30-second break as we move up to the top of the list. So to repeat the whole list once again. And if there's ever a time when you're doing a workout and you get to this point and you think, I just can't go through the next part, then skip ahead to the cool down, make it shorter. Do once through, do twice through another time. It's no big deal. I'm gonna keep going to record the whole video. But if you were having a day where you just needed a little extra rest, no problem with that. All right, back to squat knee ups. Noticing how the body feels. This is our second time through the list. It may mean that you're a little more limber and have more motion, it could mean that you're fatigued. If you pushed it in a spot or maybe it wasn't wide, you might be having some discomfort. If that's the case, you need to listen to that and change what you're doing based on that. Less than 10 seconds. Okay, onto your single leg deadlift or your option there stemming from that. If you're on one leg, starting on the left leg, keeping the hips nice and even, softness in the standing leg. Weight stays really close to the body if you're using weights. Press out through the floating heel. Try to keep your arms in the same position the whole time. And by that I mean try not to bend your elbows. Keep them soft, but strong. Okay. Last set of your squats, knee up. Remember all the different options, stool, no stool, no knee up. You even could end up doing march instead of getting into the squats, and the squats are activating for you today. Any of that is fine. You can do the cross body march with or without the squat. Less than 20 seconds, over halfway through this time period for this first exercise. Less than 10 seconds. All right, on to your single leg deadlifts or variation thereof. On your right leg this time if you're on one foot. Rooting down, maybe tapping your big toe. Shoulders back and down. Soft standing leg or legs. If it's a weight, keep it close to the body. Trying to keep the hips as even as possible. If you're holding a warrior three, or if you're moving in and out of it, or if you're doing the single leg deadlift with or without weight. Okay, all done with this one. Go ahead and take a sip of water if you like. We're moving on to thrusters and triceps press next. Remember, our options for thrusters are with or without the squat. So it could be shoulder press or overhead press only. You could do the thrusters without weights or with weights. Lots of things you can do here. Hands are on the shoulders or weights are wrapped on the shoulders. And then you get a nice fluid movement so that your squat powers your thruster. Right, so it's a squat that's powering up your overhead press. You're pressing the ceiling up and away. Nice dynamic movement. Over halfway. Checking out your low back. Notice how it's doing. Okay. Triceps press is next. So you can have options for triceps exercise. I showed you the prone shoulder extension, which is a tricep exercise. Otherwise, you can join me for triceps press with or without a weight. Lifting up overhead, Stacking shoulders over hips, hips over knees and ankles, at least in sensation. It may not look perfectly stacked, that's okay, our body's not built like that. We have curves to our bones, our muscles work in tandem, okay. But we do need to check in with the low back, notice how it's feeling, check in with the neck, squeeze those triceps, inhaling to lower, exhaling to press up. Lovely. All right, on to our last set of thrusters or the variation thereof. Either feeling really strong or really tired right now. If you're feeling really tired, then you need to pay extra attention to your form and maybe switch it up. If you're feeling strong, keep monitoring, keep doing everything the way you know it should to support your body. Go ahead and use noisy breath. Over halfway. Less than 10 seconds. All right. My hands need a break from holding weights. Maybe shake them out. Get ready for your triceps press or your variation. Whatever you selected there. Mindfully getting set up. Aware of your body, how it feels. Soft knees. Supported low back. Hugged in core. Your heart might be thumping away in your chest. Mine sure is. That's okay. You can breathe through it. If you start to feel dizzy at all, definitely set weights down. Take a breather. Get some cold water, cold air happening if that ever happens. All right. Done with the weights. All right, we're gonna take some water. Get set up for our next pairing. On to the push-ups part. So remember, wall push-ups are absolutely an option. There just won't be a T push-up with it. You could always sub in chest press on your back with dumbbells or weighted objects if you like. So many choices. All right, into the push-ups. If you're doing full T push-ups, then you're rotating into a side plank after each push-up, alternating sides. Oh, I can feel my weights in the way. Don't want to injure my feet. That's a good way to make a video go viral. Trainer breaks her ankle during workout. All caught on video. Okay, getting set up for your Russian twist. So this is the one where you sit up tall on your bum, heels planted in front, legs squeezed together, nice and tall, and then start to recline until you feel your abdominals engage. Hands over chest, and begin to rotate side to side. As if I'm talking, I want you to see my right shoulder, so I'm having a chat with you. And then I chat with someone on the other side, I want them to see my left shoulder. Like I've got some fancy pin that I want to show off on my shoulder. I like to inhale and exhale with each twist. Mine might be a little slower than what you've seen from other people. That's because I like to match my breath with my movement. Helps me feel anchored and grounded in my body. And that's the main reason I do all this. It's just to get sunken into my body. So I'm not floating around in my head, feeling all the hard stuff without rooting down through my body. Okay, into the push-ups again from knees or toes, wall push-ups or floor push-ups. Maybe it's chest press, maybe it's side plank. You know the drill. Feeling free to adjust throughout, trying different things. I'm adjusting based on how tired my arms feel. All right. Ooh, T push-ups after thrusters and triceps press is me. Sorry, folks. You're a good sport. Sticking with me through this. All right. Legs squeezed together, heels planted, nice and tall. Recline until you feel engagement in the core. Hug it in rather than pushing it out. Hands crossed. And side to side. Keep in mind your twist may not be very big. It may be like the world's smallest twist, almost imperceptible, but as long as you are feeling it in your body, like in your imagination, you can kind of see it happening, then you are firing up those muscles to do the work. So don't even worry if you don't have a lot of rotation happening. Doesn't matter. Same with the recline. You might be sitting up pretty much straight, and that might be taking up a lot of core work for you. Maybe your hands even stay planted, and it's just a small shoulder rotation. That is absolutely fine. Okay, that's it for the workout part. It's gonna celebrate 30 seconds, but while it does that, let's stretch out nice and long on the back, toes pointed together, hands up overhead, squeezing together, taking a nice big breath, and then exhale through the mouth. Let yourself melt a little. Draw your knees in towards your chest, and maybe rock gently side to side. Whew, that's a loud celebration. It is proud of us. All right, I can feel my hip flexors complaining or telling me how much they worked. So we'll be kind to them here. Let's rotate our ankles. You can allow your knees to separate a little bit so there's a bit more space there. Rotate the ankles. Okay, land the feet down. We're actually going to do a glute bridge. I know it seems like more work, but it's a nice way to stretch out the hamstrings a little bit. So tap your feet down, tap into your toes, let them be about hip distance apart, thereabouts. Be prepared to adjust as needed. Hands can float down, palms can press into the floor, and press your hips up towards the ceiling. Adjust your stance if you need. Maybe the feet are too close to the bum, maybe they're too far, maybe they're too far apart, too close together. And just press, squeeze your bum as much as you can, really press, see if you can get a little bit of a stretch sensation in the front of your hip flexors. And then lower down, draw your knees into your chest. Release the feet down, heel tilt about sort of the width of your mat. And then windshield wipe your knees from side to side, moving gently and slowly, massaging your glutes, your bum. After those single leg deadlifts or warrior threes or deadlifts, whatever you did for your kind of second option. The squats also utilize these muscles. So it's a nice movement following all of that. Find your way up to more of a seated position. You can choose how you get up. I'm going to rock and roll up a little bit. And then reaching, if you have a strap available, I would love it if you could grab a strap. I'll make sure I put that on the required equipment for folks catching the on-demand. So take it, wrap around your balls of your feet. Step your feet out long. They can be tight together or you can have them separated. It's really up to you. See if you can get sitting right on your sits bones, nice and tall. And then holding onto the strap, just begin to hinge forward slightly. You're going to feel a stretch probably in the back of your legs. If this is too much tension on your knees, you can add a rolled towel underneath your knees just to bump them up and support a bend a little bit. Yeah, so we're doing a variation of forward fold. Remember that the wider your feet are, the more space you have for your belly. Experiment with what foot position feels best for you. And remember, we're looking primarily for stretch along the back of the legs. For me personally, I find the closer my feet are, the more stretch I get, but I can't bend as far forward when I do that. So there's a bit of a trade-off. Generally, I'm okay with that. I can stretch my hamstrings. I don't really care if I could forward fold too much. So that's me. If you have long arms, you don't need the strap, that's okay too. I've got very long arms for my size. But not everyone has that. You can gently release out of that and then find your way back onto your back body as long as you like figure four. If you have another variation that you like for a glute stretch, do that. If you're doing a glute stretch with me, kick your left leg out, bend the knee, open the hip, outer left ankle against top of right knee. Here we can stay here, maybe press the knee away, or maybe you pop your right foot up on a block, or you reach through with strapper hands for the back of the right thigh, draw right knee towards right shoulder. Maybe you use your left hand or elbow to press your left knee away. Hold steady here in this glute stretch for about 30 seconds. If you got your strap or your arms wrapped around your right thigh, gently release, lowering it down to the floor. If your right foot's on a block, you can remove the block, and everyone can unwind. Let's walk the feet a little wider and windshield wipe them again. You know it's my favorite. Don't be surprised. Okay, and then find your positioning again, this time kicking the right leg up. Bend the knee, open the hip, cross the ankle over the knee. Press right knee away with right hand. See how that feels. Maybe you have some sensation already. Maybe you need to go deeper. Up to you. You can always experiment. You can always back off if you need to. So don't be afraid of kind of doing something a little further than switching up. It really doesn't matter. All right, you can drop a block underneath your left foot if you like, or you can thread through with strapper hands around left thigh, draw left knee towards left shoulder. With your right elbow or right hand, you can press your right knee away still. Find your breath. Notice if you're sending tension elsewhere in your body because of the stretch. It's common when something feels uncomfortable or difficult in one part of our body or our life, yeah, all the metaphors, then sometimes it gets transferred into other parts, it seeps into other parts of the body or our life, right? And so you think of how maybe it feels really uncomfortably stretchy in the right glute. So maybe some of that tension has moved up into the shoulders or the jaw. Just like how if you're having a terrible time at work, sometimes it bleeds into having a hard time at home. Sad but true, the way life is. All we can do is notice it and then make changes, right? Soften. Feel the breath moving through your lungs, through your body, moving the energy. If your left leg is lifted, gently release it down to the block or the floor. If it's on a block, remove the block and unwind all together. Yeah, go ahead and throw in some windshield wiping knees. I'm glad you asked. Yep. Sweep them side to side. Massage out the glutes. Feels so good. All right, let's do a little more hip flexor stretching just because we worked them hard today. So find your way up to seated, rock and roll along the length of your spine or turn to your side and press up. Whatever works for you. We're gonna find our way into a low lunge. So I've done this a fair amount with you, I think. So get in the way that feels best for you. You may want an extra blanket or cushion beneath your knee. But basically I want you to step forward. I like to start with my left foot forward. Adjust the hips, so draw left hip back, right hip forward. And then I like to walk my left foot out a little bit further so I can press forward and then sit up straight. So that way I feel a little bit of sensation in the front of the hip. You even squeeze the right thumb. As you squeeze that muscle, it essentially, so if your hip flexors, this is oversimplified, just disclaimer here. If your hip flexors run along the front of your pelvis like this, and your glutes are here, as they squeeze, they kind of draw it up and over in essence, stretching it out. So as you squeeze this muscle, it stretches these ones. And so that's why we squeeze our glutes and do things like that, is so that it can do this sort of stretching, the squeezing here, pulls it tight, in essence. Breathing into it. You can always shoot an arm up if you like. Sometimes that it helps you feel a little bit of it too, because it's extending, right? We used to sing that song as kids, like, the hip bones connect to the leg bone, right? So we have like everything's connected. So it makes sense. But as we do this, we get some drawing out and stretching happening. Whew. I feel like a kid in school that's had their hand up for so long. His arms are tired from the rest of the workout. All right, come on out of this. Find the way you want to. I'm going to use my hands to root me down a little bit this time. I'm lucky that I can move my legs around underneath my big monkey arms. Find your way into your kneel on the other side. Again, you might want to inch your foot forward. Draw the left hip forward, right hip back this time. Maybe just kidding. I actually am going to have to push my right hip forward this time a little bit. Press my left hip back. There we go. That's working better for me right now. Sitting up nice and tall. Option to extend the left arm up. Maybe squeeze your left glutes. I always have to punch mine just gently to make sure they're doing their thing. Yeah, there we go. Now I've got the stretch. Awesome. Okay, holding steady on that. When I say holding, I definitely don't mean holding your breath. I mean just keeping that posture, that stillness in the body. The breath always gets to be fluid. Oh, the wanderings of my mind as we reach the end of the stretching, looking at all my plants around me and thinking, oh gosh, these transition seasons are hard for indoor plants for me. I tend to overwater in the fall. I'm used to the heat of the summer on them and how much I have to water them, and so I'm tempted to keep watering them, but they don't need it. All right, release out of that. Let's get into our arms today and want to make sure we don't neglect them. So let's work on a tricep stretch first. Standing, seated, or kneeling, reaching up. Right hand on left elbow. Find some length and then drawing up and over towards the right side. Feeling that stretch in the triceps. You might feel it in the shoulder bit too. See all the fall leaves through the windows behind me. I can see them on the camera. And I'm just thinking about as I walked through the woods this morning, taking my youngest to school, switch sides. There were so many beautiful leaves on the forest floor. But when I looked up, the trees were bare. So I know that day is coming soon. You can barely see the neighbor's house from our house in the summer, but soon you'll be able to see it perfectly because of all the bare trees. It's so different. Almost done here on this side. Release. Roll your shoulders back. Moving your hands in front. And then open them wide. Notice how that feels. Maybe you need a bit of a chest stretch after the push-ups. You can do that by pressing one hand against the wall. You can also use a strap behind you. We don't want to overdo it by stretching too hard, but you hold a strap between your hands and draw your hands back. Stretch out your chest. Feels sort of aerodynamic this way. Definitely helps with posture if you tend to roll your shoulders forward. I know I tend to. It's also a really powerful stance. Right? When we're standing up tall like this, it helps us feel empowered. Gives us a sense of agency. Sometimes that can feel uncomfortable for folks. Sometimes it's invigorating. It sort of depends on what's been going on. And release out of that. Maybe do some shoulder shrugs, squeezing up, relaxing down. It's amazing what this sort of progressive relaxation can do for the body when you tighten up and then release. There's a sense of relief. It's good. Go ahead and give yourself a little massage. Notice how that feels. And then see how your neck mobility is, looking both ways. Nice and slow, not rushing it. Up and down, maybe doing diagonals. Awesome. Thanks so much for joining me today. It was lovely to see you on the live stream and on the on-demand session. I hope you're enjoying these videos. Message me or leave a comment if you like. And in the meantime, take good care. I'll see you again soon.